Hi, my name is Simon Hatch. The purpose of this video is to tell you a little bit about myself. I had no intentions of always coming into instrumentation. By chance, it was the case. I did a degree of chemical engineering at Loughborough University, and I got my first role as inside sales engineer working for a KDG Mowbray based at Slough in the UK. In hindsight, it was a great introduction to instrumentation because they not only had a broad range of products of instrumentation, but they were also both a manufacturer from something like a simple float level switch, the Ronald Trist valve. They did their own pressure and also electronics, particularly on the level side of things. But they were a reseller for other manufacturers, including the Anu bar from Dietrich Standard. By coincidence, and maybe it wasn't a coincidence, I left KG Mowbray and joined Fisher Rosemount. At the time they were called that, now they are Emerson. They acquired Dietrich Standard, and I worked my way up from inside sales engineer through product management in the UK to a product management role within what's called Europe, Middle East and Africa. At the time, it's quite fascinating to look at. The globe was split into three regions, Americas being the biggest by far, then there was Europe, Middle East and Africa, including Russia, as one, and then the smallest region was called Asia Pacific. And if you now look at the globe, it's called Asia Pacific, a small region. I think everyone looking at you is absolutely crazy. My role was particularly focusing on DP flow and creating the message of selling DP flow as a complete meter rather than components. It was fascinating to come up with a message, but also tools to justify and to get the message across of the benefits of selling as a complete flow meter. I was also involved with pressure from manifolds, but also the launch of the 3051S, which is probably the biggest, it was the biggest product launch that I was ever involved with. I left Emerson and joined Yokogawa in their UK organisation, again as product manager, but I had a wider product portfolio under my responsibility. So not only pressure, but I had temperature and all their flow products within the Yokogawa portfolio. As well as the instrumentation side of things, I was involved with the digital signals. I was a member of the marketing committee in the UK for Foundation Fieldbus, looking at promoting that through numerous vendors, not only just instrumentation, but also things like the barrier suppliers. I then was transferred across to a European organisation, mainly focusing on pressure and temperature. But at that sort of time, ISA 101 was being introduced. And again, I was in the marketing committee for Europe for the Wireless Compliance Institute. And it's quite fascinating to look at or discuss with clients of how a new technology will be adopted and how manufacturer needs to support them of actually selling or manufacturing commercially available products that's fit for their applications. And wireless will be a very important component of my training courses. I left Yokogawa and now set myself as an independent trainer. When I looked into training courses, is it training? What I really wanted to do is to get people to learn. And the principle that I used to develop my training courses was called the learning pyramid. This was the best graphic I could find to visualize and for me to explain to other people what I mean by a learning pyramid. So if I look back at my education, at school I was taught things. So for instance, the times table. And when I look back at it, I was just recalling facts, remembering it, recounting, regurgitating it. Then when I went to university and then into my professional learning career, I started to understand what those facts meant. Then to apply it, analyse it, evaluate, effectively the creation part. So the creation part is always the very interesting bit, but the foundations of your pyramid are the most important things. If you can't remember the facts, you don't understand them, you'll not be able to organise analysing, evaluating and creation that everyone wants to do. So the first course that I really looked at was the fundamentals of instrumentation, and this is aimed at understanding what the facts mean, so the attendees, when they leave the course, can apply these information into their professional work. Once I had the principle of the learning pyramid in my mind and I started developing the actual material itself, I wanted to make sure the material not only could be a training course, so for instance, the full training course on the fundamentals of instrumentation is 2 days. I will hold it at regular times throughout the year at Ellesmere Port. I can also do that on site if you've got a group of people and it's easy for me to visit rather than them to visit Ellesmere Port. Please contact me and we can actually start discussing the logistics about organising that event. But also with a modular arrangement, what we can start doing is customising a course for your specific needs. This is particularly relevant for individuals. So you might sort of say you're strong on flow, but you want to spend some time on just pressure. Now if it's one-to-one, it might be more cost effective doing it online. So I'm fascinated with technology of how it's going to be used. So using Skype, what we can do is say we'll do a module on pressure. I would suggest we talk about half an hour maximum duration for each module, but we can really tailor it to your specific requirements. So hopefully what I'm trying to do with this material is not only cater for the groups of people that want to attend a 2-day course, but individuals that want to focus on a specific requirement and have less time available for that purpose. But the most important thing about sort of training or getting people to learn is the enthusiasm and getting them to really enjoy the learning process itself. And one of the challenges I sort of had recently outside work was 2 years ago. I did a series of bike rides. I turned 50, I wanted to have a challenge of doing something completely different, and I did a number of sporties throughout the UK, and I raised money for a local special needs school. It was a fascinating process to go through because initially I thought I couldn't do it. But then once I had a goal, it was fascinating to actually then work through it, of actually then the joy and elation of actually achieving something that I thought I couldn't do, and I felt so much better for it. And what I believe passionately about sort of training or learning is not only the mechanics of doing it, but how your mental attitude is to it. So if you think you can't do something, almost certainly you won't do it. But if you think, well, if someone else has done it, why can't I? But you want someone to encourage you and to cajole you to say you can do it. That's what I want to be. So from my training resource or learning capability, I will get such a buzz of people actually attending my training course, and it's giving them enthusiasm to continue their learning itself. And in the future, obviously, if they ever want to use me from a mentoring point of view, to point them in directions, I won't tell them what to do, but hopefully I will have the knowledge and capability to and enthusiasm to encourage them to learn for themselves. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to working with you in your learning journey as well. Thank you.